And good morning. Welcome to the Zoom in between Wall and Main. This is Friday, January 29th, 2016. Can you believe January's almost over already?
Not at all.
Doesn't it seem like it's flown by? Did everybody get their 1099s done? Are they out the door?
No, I'm starting mine.
I'm doing mine on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say Sunday.
Oh, they are in the email.
I'm doing mine on Sunday, and they all get e-filed. So the saving grace, of course, the federal copies don't have to be filed until March 31st.
You know, I always call that a soft deadline in my world.
Yeah, and I don't know if our clients handle soft so well.
Yeah.
Hard line.
Mine get over it.
To us.
Well, everybody gets in such a tizzy. Oh my God, 1099s, I have to get done. And in all my years, I've
No,
never
they
once
don't.
seen anybody get nailed on a 1099, like not being filed or filed on time. Have any of you ever seen anybody get in trouble for it?
No, the only time they can get in trouble is if the vendor actually calls the IRS
And complains, which
it's not
nobody
gonna
ever wants to
happen.
do because it's like
Because
raising
half the time
flag.
they're cheating anyway.
Yeah,
They're not reporting all the income anyways. They're not going to cheat.
and they're not calling the IRS, they're calling me to complain.
Right. So I see we've got some more viewers here. So if you know, I didn't download the registration report yet. So if y'all want to just chime in on the chat and let me know for sure if you want to be a panelist, I will make you a panelist. We're limited to 25. So just a little housekeeping there. So Blake, does that mean you want to be a panelist? Hi. I'll give you like a second to answer.
This is so funny. I talked to Blake yesterday on a show he does with Will Lopez. Like, I'm all over the internet this week. It's nuts.
It's Hubdoc Love Week.
It's Hubdoc week on the internet.
It really is. So you know what? In a way, it's probably timely because, you know, being that we do have things like 1099s to get done, we probably are shuffling a lot of papers around. And it probably is fitting that we should be looking at a product that helps us make that process like way more efficient.
And
Hey
when
guys.
it started during the year, at the end of the year, you would just need to go to your Hubdoc and pull up the information, and there you would be.
So I'm still making my coffee here.
So, and bear with me here while I turn in the chime sound off that plays when people enter. It makes some of us drool like Pavlov's dog.
It just makes me, it makes my brain hurt.
So, anyway, as I was saying, wait, see, it's funny because the pictures shuffle around. Did we lose Jamie?
No, I'm still here.
Why don't? Oh, there you are. You moved
He's
to
in
the
the
top
middle,
right.
he's in the middle like Alice.
I want to be Mike Brady. I want to be Mike Brady.
On my screen, you're in the spot where Greg Brady is.
Okay.
And you know that how, Joanne?
What's that?
And you know that how?
Because I am a diehard Brady Bunch fan.
You almost said die fart.
I did say diehard. Now you will have to edit that out.
We will. All right. So I don't want to, waste any time because we have truly a very special guest here with us today and a very special presentation. I was starting to say that the time of it, maybe we should make the last week of January officially Hubdoc week because it's also really the right time because you're finally getting past that initial, all right, the year's starting, the hustle bustle, whatever you want to call it. And now it's time to start getting better organized. Would you agree, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the time of year when we're all thinking about, like, how do we close 2015? And I need to get all my stuff together for that year. And also trying to get the new year off on the right foot. And I talk to people who are trying to move their practices, quote unquote, paperless all the time. And January is a good time to start. You get your clients on, you get them trained, and you get to year end and you have everything you need to do the work.
Right. I love that. And, it's funny because last night we have our, I guess, I'm so lost on this. It used to be NAN. Now I guess it's the Woodard Group. Is that what we're calling it this week?
Yeah, network. Isn't it Woodard Network?
It's like our Woodard / Sleater because then it was
So
also
all you have to think about when you think about Joe Woodard and what he does, this is what I call it all the time. It's one Woodard. The Woodard conglomerate. what I always called him whenever he was on the QB show. So
We
just
just call
tell us what's going on with Woodard Conglomerate, Joe.
Can we just call it Woody?
Woodard,
Woody,
no, because
my
that's
Woody group.
That's,
Oh, that's
Woody
Woody.
Adams.
True.
I'm like, no, that's Woody.
So in any event, we had Yelena, who's here with us, and Mariette, who is not here with us. Let me check to see if she's like in the panel viewer people area. But we so we had a presentation done. Ooh, Melissa's here. She was there with us last night. So we had a wonderful presentation, which got me that much more excited to really want to dig into Hubdoc myself. I haven't really had a chance to do it. I just took my account like last week. I'm excited. And now that I've seen how it works, I'm even more excited. So I'm not going to waste any more time. And by the way, we're tweeting with the hashtag ZibWham, ZIBWAM, zoom in between wall and main. So ZibWham is the hashtag on Twitter. So get your Twitter social manager out and start tweeting and say hello and post the link to the registration page. Maybe we'll get some fun people joining us. But without further ado, Jamie, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate you, coming out here, so to speak, on a Friday morning, early for us. And let's just start off simply by having you, even though I know a lot of us know already, but for the sake of those who don't, especially in the recording after the fact, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
Sure. So my name is Jamie McDonald. I'm one of the co-founders of Hubdoc. I spend my time working on product and customer experience. Who I do it for, well, I do it for all the people listening on the call. I spend a lot of time talking to accountants and bookkeepers, and then I do it for my family. I love my wife and my two daughters, and my life is with them, and I love my work life too, but putting those two things together. What were the other four questions, and who am I and who do I do it for?
Who are you, what do you do, and who you do it for?
And so I guess it's worth telling the story of Hubdoc and kind of what we do. I've been a software entrepreneur for a while. The genesis story of our business is my partner and I, the other Jamie, who many of you would know. We're running a business and we hated our bookkeeper. We had an outsourced bookkeeper, and she asked us to send like binders. We wanted to email her PDF statements, and that wasn't okay. We had to print them and put them in the binder, which was then couriered. Our QB desktop file was either with us or with her. It was never up to date. It took us 3 weeks to close a month on a pretty simple business. And so when we sold that company, we wanted to try and solve that problem. And Hubdoc was initially started to kind of attack the filing cabinet in our personal lives, and consolidate all those bills and statements. Turned out that people didn't care that much, and small business owners and accountants really did, though. And ever since we kind of started focusing on that market, we've just had great success driving value for those customers.
So I have to say, and this is kind of probably jumping a little bit, but one of the things that I was thinking about last night when we had the presentation was how amazing it is that essentially, it seems, as long as I have login access to a service that produces a bill every month, and I add that connection in Hubdoc, you guys are somehow able to just crawl in and find a way to get statements. Somebody was saying that their Chase account, they're able to go back 7 years and get statements with Hubdoc. How? I don't expect you to explain the coding technology.
How?
But
it's explicit detail while I take notes.
Well, I could give you the code to the Chase robot, and you still wouldn't be able to figure it out. So it's worth talking about. Blake and I talked about this yesterday. Our core technology are these robots that we build, and effectively what we're doing is we represent you, Seth, to go out and log into Chase and say, find me all of the accounts on Chase and find me all the statements. If they're check images and deposit slips, grab them too. And if we can grab a CSV as well, let's do that as well. And so we support over 500 feeds right now. We added 30 last month, and we're trying to add more and more every day. So if there's a URL that's protected by a password and user credentials, we can get it, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. I mean, that's just amazing to me. I can't go in there and get statements as far back as you can when I log in myself. All right, so let's dig in here. Why do you think, Jamie, certain accountants and bookkeepers are adopting Hubdoc so rapidly? In other words, what value do you think they're seeing? I mean, I can tell you what I think, but I'm curious from your perspective. Where's the value in it from their perspective, and what value does it create for the bookkeeper's clients?
Yeah, there's kind of two answers to this, and one is like the growth of cloud accounting is this rising tide that's floating all of our boats, and I think anyone who's early to that space is you're driven by automation, you're driven by getting efficient, serving more clients with less, and we can talk about that later. I think the core value point of Hubdoc, I always say when I'm talking to accountants and bookkeepers is, never ask your client for a document again. And I think delivering on that promise means that instead of asking your clients twice a month for a bank statement or a bill or whatever, you can use those customer touches to talk about, their cash flow or how to make their business better, not nagging them for, a check that they wrote 3 weeks ago that you need to do the books. And I think that's the giant thing. And then we do all sorts of automation in terms of pushing transactions to QBO or Xero or Bill.com or moving things to cloud storage so that Chase Bank statement arrives in your ShareFile or Smart Vault account. And people find that valuable.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I can tell you that from my perspective, I love it. I love it, and I haven't even gotten into it yet. But
I love it.
I love it too. How much do you love it, Stacy?
I love it a lot. Like if it were a thing, I would snuggle with it.
Snuggle it at night.
I would, yeah. Love it.
It's funny because one of the things that came up last night as we were looking at Hubdoc, and it was clear from the people around in the room, some people like Elena seems to have no trouble getting what she needs from clients, but I know other bookkeepers that I work with who complain to me all the time. They're looking for my guidance and help with this because a lot of times they struggle to get what they need from their clients. And I've never had a problem getting what I need from my clients, but it's a heck of a lot easier having an app do it for me so I don't even have to ask them, right?
Can I say something?
No. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, we don't ever have any problem getting anything from our clients, and we actually right now are not using Hubdoc with any of our clients.
The horror!
I know.
Horror.
We don't have any problems. And the reason, sorry about the jingling, one of my cats has a toy, but I use it just for me because I have a couple different credit cards and a couple different bank accounts, and well, I'm going to be eliminating one of those banks soon. You guys will all see the blog post soon, trust me. That's a whole thing. But anyway, so I use it just for me, and I love it because I don't have to log in to all these different places to get all my statements to do my own bank reconciliations every month. I can just log into my Hubdoc account and all the statements are right there. So I love it. Like I said, I would snuggle with it if I could.
Can I jump in for a second? Good morning, all. I just wanted to kind of give you my perspective why I love Hubdoc so much. As you probably know from my posts, I travel a lot, and so I'm in Europe. So often it happens that I have a lot of clients who I have to log in from different locations, get locked out, or log in the middle of the night when the bank is doing updating servers or what have you. So with Hubdoc, it solves so much problem for me because I can just log in and everything is in one spot. And then if I have any questions, they know where to upload. If I have any, I need additional documents or I need something else, they know where to upload it. It's one spot. It's very much organized, and they just can email it to themselves, to their own email, and I'm done. And so that's the reason why it kind of, for me, the Hubdoc happened organically from where I want to be, kind of going backwards, and it just that they were the only solution, and the only solution I want to use right now is to get me where I am right now from where I want it to be, as that is being 100% cloud and 100% mobile and 100% being able to be from different IP location in the US. And that's what I'm doing.
Jamie, are you feeling the love?
I'm feeling the love.
So, by the way, we have, so for those of you who are still on sort of view-only status, Gail and Steve, that's you. If you want to become panelists, let me know. We have room for some more panelists. We can take up to 25. So, meanwhile, I think, Jamie, that we should not keep our audience drooling any longer. And I think what we should do is have you share your screen and demonstrate Hubdoc. And then at a certain point, I have a very, very specific and granular question I want to ask you about the behavior of Hubdoc, specifically with respect to the process of having it pushed to products like QuickBooks Online or Xero, and sort of the order that things have to happen and to make sure we don't wind up with duplicates. You probably already know where I'm going with that. But let's have you share your screen.
Sure.
If you move your mouse over this Brady Bunch-like panel, you'll see the share screen option at the bottom. It's green. There we go.
Got it. Okay. We're good, right?
Yep, we can see your screen.
How do I get rid of the Zoom bar?
So if you move your mouse over it, there should be some little symbols that appear across the top.
Got it.
Yeah, so the leftmost one should minimize it, and then you can drag it out of your way. There should be a way to fully minimize it. I have to complain to Zoom about that. You know what? Maybe we should have your developers talk to theirs.
Okay. So I'm just going to log out and show you a couple things. So first thing I'll do is log in with my demo accountant account. I'm Homer Simpson, and I've got a CPA firm. So Homer logs in, and he puts in the wrong password, as Homer often does. And you see your Hubdoc account, right, which is, there's Homer's own account where he might have his firm's bank statements, etc., and then all his client accounts are listed down here. To add a new client, it's as simple as hitting that button, and then the email would be kicked out saying Homer Simpson has invited you to collaborate on your Hubdoc account, and you'd be good to go. If you've got different users of your firm, you can give them selective access to your client accounts so that a junior bookkeeper only sees their clients, and your firm administrator can see everything. I'm just going to jump into our actual Hubdoc account, and I wasn't prepared to demo today, so there may be things that are slightly broken. And I'll just show you the couple core functions. So the first core function is the automated fetching of stuff. So I'm gonna delete my American Express account and add it back because that usually works. So I'll add an account, and I'm going to say, let's add my Amex account. So this is the example of your clients entering their credentials and wanting to share their Amex statements with you on a monthly basis. So now our little robot's going out to Amex and saying, hey, how many cards are there? And for those cards, this is the first time we're connecting, so I'm going to download all of our historical statements. So I close out of that, and Hubdoc's automatically created this Amex folder with the account number, and there's the first actual statement. And it's going to go and do its thing, and it'll grab all the historical statements as well as CSVs for Amex, which we grab on a monthly basis. Does that make sense, everybody?
100% to me. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, is this a real American Express statement we're seeing here with names?
It is, yeah, that's mine.
Thank you.
It's not a client account. Don't worry. This is our actual business Hubdoc account, so we're good.
Gina was like about to pounce on you for confidentiality.
Yeah, can you screen cap that and steal my identity? Please don't do that. So if I go back to the all screen, so we got our bill from Adobe this morning. I uploaded this. We don't support a robot to Adobe at the moment. We could well do so. And we extracted, Adobe, the bill date and the amount. So if I go here and say I want to push this to my accounting destinations, I can do that, right? So there's the invoice number, the amount. Let's say we want to push it to Xero. I'm going to call this, go to software. Of course, it won't let me do that because I have to put in my account number.
So actually, since you're on this, Jamie, if you don't mind me interrupting,
Go ahead.
let me ask you my question here.
Yep.
So here's what I'm thinking. So let's say I'm using QuickBooks Online.
Sure, we can do it there.
I'm downloading my bank feeds. And let's say without thinking about it, I download the bank feeds and I add it into my register. So it's the transaction is fully added in, no longer in the download queue. And then I go and push that same transaction this way from Hubdoc into QuickBooks Online. Will I wind up with a duplicate, or will Hubdoc see that it's already been added in? How does that, in other words, do I have to make sure that I push from Hubdoc before I match up my bank feed?
Yeah, you do have to do that. We're not smart enough to know. So the the traditional behavior, so if I publish this to QBO and to Zero, would be, an expense or a bill is created inside of QBO, and then you wait for that to match a bank feed item, which could be on my corporate credit card. It's actually on that Amex bill, right? So you'd want to match that then to the actual bank feed that's coming in to QBO.
Got it. Okay, and that's what I figured, and I wanted to just be 100% sure. So people need to make sure that they're careful about that you push from Hubdoc and make sure that your Hubdoc syncing is completely up to date before you accept transactions into QuickBooks Online.
Is there a possibility that if you have already brought things into your register with QBO, that you go into the inside of a QuickBooks screen, unselect, so that it goes back into the main thing, and then push Hubdoc, and then it would match them up?
Yeah, you could. I don't know the right terminology. It's basically unreconcile the transaction in the bank feed, and then you'd be good to go.
You would
Yeah, if it's sitting in the download queue, not having been added in yet, then yes, then I know for sure then, because I've seen it, that Hubdoc will match up. But it has to be sitting in the queue from the download, waiting to be added in. So, So Stacy, what did you say? It's actually called undo?
Yeah, you're going to undo. So when you get to the bank feed screen, it'll say new all in QuickBooks, and then like excluded or something like that. So if it's been excluded or it's been matched or added, either one of those, as long as it's not been excluded and then deleted, if it's still in the excluded list or if it's in QuickBooks, you can just go in and undo it, and it'll put it back in the bank feed for you to deal with it.
Right.
So here's the transaction that we just created. So it's a vendor Adobe. We've coded it to software. The actual invoice is attached to the transaction inside QBO, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I just, I hit save, and then I wait for it to match the bank feed. We also support, pushing documents to bill.com. I'll just show you my destinations that we support at the moment. So if you think of it as your accounting integrations, we support Xero, QBO, bill.com, FreshBooks, and Intact. And then on the cloud storage side, which is, where you might have your existing documents all sit in, whether it's Dropbox, Box, ShareFile, SmartVault, Google Drive. We support all of those at the moment as well. So I don't know, how much time do we have today, Seth? Half an hour or a full hour?
6 hours.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
No, we have till 9 a.m. Pacific. So
okay,
you got time.
So I guess the only other thing, if you've got bill.com users there, so it's exactly the same process. So this is a bill we got from HubSpot today, which is a great product but expensive. And so I'm gonna send this to the sales department because it goes to sales and marketing, and I publish that to bill.com. And so now when I go to bill.com, what we should see is that instead of going into the inbox where you have to code things, now it's a bill's been automatically created. If I could log in properly. And there's no kind of data entry that's required at bill.com, which is super nice. So you guys would be familiar with the bill.com inbox. So I don't have anything there, but if I go to my bills and look for that HubSpot bill, there it is. And so it's been routed now to the default approver, coded to software, invoice date correct, and it's ready to be paid inside of bill.com. So
when you said you published that to the sales department, is that like a class thing that's set up?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's so department sales, location Toronto. That's all bill.com kind of functionality that we support.
Well, and that's QBO also, right? Because QBO has location and class.
Yeah, so with QBO, again, I could publish that to QBO, and we actually support a lot of things with QBO. So we've got tracking, class, location, description.
There it is. Well, no, because if you're publishing to bill.com, ultimately then from bill.com, it's going to go to QBO. I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's almost like a three-way kind of sync, right?
Yeah, so there's a workflow that you have to decide, is everything going to bill.com and then to QBO, or do things go to both places and QBO and bill.com aren't connected? It's really up to you how you design that workflow, and we have people who do it both ways.
That's fascinating. I would think for sure you would have it go to bill.com if it's going to be a bill to pay, and then from there into QBO. I can't imagine why you would want those two disconnected, but anyway.
Yeah, so like that HubSpot example is actually, it's something that's on my credit card, right? So that transaction, do you want that to go to bill.com or not? That would be one scenario where you want Hubdoc to create the transaction in QBO, but it's just going to match a bank feed item on my credit card, so it doesn't really need to go to bill.com in that scenario.
Right. If it's an actual payment, then I could see usurping bill.com and going directly to the accounting software.
Yeah.
But in the case of a bill, I would think you would always want the bill to go into bill.com, and then as long as something's going there, then it would go from bill.com into QBO or Xero.
So there's one scenario where that might not be true. So bill.com at present doesn't publish the document. So the actual, in this example, the HubSpot invoice, if you were connected to QBO, and that transaction was created by bill.com and QBO, it wouldn't include the source document.
Okay.
When we connect to QBO, it does. And so you just have to trade off, do you want the source document in QBO, or do you want, like, when you click pay in bill.com to mark that bill as paid inside of QBO, to have bill.com do that?
Got it. Okay. Sorry, I just, my mind works that way. It starts getting curious about these things.
No, those are good questions. So, I mean, that's really it. I've showed you kind of how the automation works. I'll just show you one more thing, which is we talked about check images. So we bank with TD. It looks like I've written a check, or my wife has. And so for our enhanced feeds, which would be the top 20 banks in North America, we're grabbing check images and deposit slips where they're available on each account.
That's amazing. And even the CSV files I learned last night you're getting.
Yep.
Right. So with we do our corporate banking with our RBC, and so if I look at, I've got every month we're grabbing a CSV for that particular account as well.
I love how you guys spell checking in Canada. You guys are so much more eloquent than we are here in the US.
It is weird. Like, why do we spell it with a Q? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think that's the French influence, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, or the British, one or the other.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Dropbox. Can you explain how it works with Dropbox? I have
sure.
clients that are already using Dropbox, and it would be nice to allow them to continue to use it, but let me bring the documents in by Hubdoc.
Sure. So if you have I'm trying to think if this account is connected to Dropbox. I don't think that it is, but I'll show you an example of something that's exactly like that. So am I connected to Dropbox? No. So is it okay if I show it working like with Box as an example?
Absolutely.
So let's say with Box, these Adobe bills, because they're top of mind, I want to send all of these to Box. And so we've got this feature. This Hubdoc account is connected to Box. Let's say that I want to push this whole account to Box. So I just hit the drop down, and all these Adobe files are now going to be pushed to Box. And so when I log into Box, theoretically what should happen is in my Hubdoc folder there.
So it doesn't pull from Box, it pushes to.
Yeah.
So right. So in other words, Gina, your client would still have to use. I mean, the end result could be having her backup in Dropbox, but she would have to put any documents inside of Hubdoc.
Well, I'm thinking like source documents. Whenever they send me something like that, they could put them in Dropbox, but I could automatically pull the statements, for example, from Hubdocs to the Dropbox.
Mm-hmm.
Different documents for different reasons.
But you can email your documents into Hubdoc, right?
Yeah, so that's worth showing as well. So how to get stuff into Hubdoc, you can easily drag and drop. So there's that Adobe bill. If I don't mind having a duplicate, I just uploaded that and dragged it drop there. You can email it in using that email address. So if a vendor emails you something, it's easy to forward in. Or you can use our mobile app to take a picture of that Starbucks receipt or the Exxon bill And then that goes through our data extraction process. So it's worth showing you. I just uploaded that bill, and it should now be sitting in our processing tab. Well, there it is right there. Sorry. No. So there's the Adobe bill that I just uploaded. It's now sitting in our processing tab, which just means we extract data from it, vendor date, amount, etc. And then when that happens, it'll be ready to push to your downstream systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What else? Questions?
So the naming of the folders, this is something we talked about last night, and it was interesting to me. So, I mean, everybody was saying that the way you guys name stuff by default when I connect an account is kind of perfect. But I also got the impression you really don't want to mess with that because it can kind of mess up the syncing with the institution. How does that work?
You know, I'll give you an example. So again, we bank with RBC. You know, I could change the name of, I could rename the folder and call it, you know, checking if I wanted to. I could also decide that I want to, you know, I could change the names of these or change the location of them. So I could create a new folder called banking, right? And say that I wanted to have all of my documents delivered into a folder there instead. And then, so if I do banking and then underneath that, I create a new folder called RBC. I could then point the robot to deliver the statements to that particular account.
So how do you do that? Because that's where I think we were getting concerned last night that if you start moving things around, it's going to break the sync between the, so you have to go into the setup here.
Yeah, and so I go into what's called manage accounts, and let's say this RBC, I want to change the destination, which I do edit location up here. Instead of, I want it to go to banking RBC now, and I select that folder. And then I think I hit save there 1 second. Yeah, so I hit banking RBC select, and sorry, and now the change has been made that all the future documents from this particular account will go to this location again. You know, it's our folder structure isn't perfect. We've got work to do. We want to be able to make, you know, all these folders collapsible is one thing, so they can drill it in and out of them. We want to make it so I could drag this Amex folder into the banking folder. We don't support that yet, but all that stuff will come in.
So the bottom line then is I can rename it however I want. I just have to make sure to go into the configuration and point things to the right place.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I make a comment? When you do that, the old,
Wait, whoever's speaking, we can barely hear you. If you can talk into your mic.
sorry, it's Jan. When you do that, the old statements, you have to go copy them into the new folder you just created.
Yeah, that's totally right. So in that example, I think we moved over 7350. And if we wanted all these bank statements to then, you know, show up in that folder, you can, you know, select all and then drag them into that RBC folder as an example.
I have a question.
Yep.
This seems like a very involved process. How involved are the clients in setting this thing up, and also are they involved with it pretty much daily, or are they kind of passively just, is it basically for your benefit, or is it basically for the client's benefit, or are they involved with it? It seems like it's the average client is probably not that computer savvy, and I'm just kind of wondering how that would work.
Well, but once you set it up, it's done, right? Just to be clear,
Okay.
like you're looking at the granular setup stuff, but once you
Okay.
set it up, then it's done. But I'm sorry, Jamie, you go ahead and answer the question.
No, it's a good question, right? And so we have some firms who actually don't expose our application to their clients. They just use it to fetch bank statements and monthly recurring bills. And, you know, Blake, who's on the call, would be an example of that. And then we have others who have their clients highly involved in it and who are entering all their logins, kind of responding to notifications from us and using the mobile app to upload documents regularly, right? So it's a mix of both.
Yeah, I have a client that I'm just starting with, and they were really excited. They actually were the ones that brought the Hubdoc to my attention. And what we're going to be doing is that both of them travel a lot, and they are going to be really using the mobile app to bringing, because they wanted to have one location where all of their receipts were, so that if they needed to look at something, if I needed to look at something, and they wanted them in the end to be inside of their QuickBooks Online. So we're using Hubdoc. We're having a small little training where I'm showing them, okay, when you get emails now, you just forward it to Hubdoc.
Yep.
You know, so I'm showing them how to actually do that process that makes it easier for them. They can then keep their inbox zero. I know Stacy will like that. And everything will be in Hubdoc for the bookkeepers to process.
But on the initial
I
setup,
just want to let you know I have one in my inbox right now.
Yay.
on the initial setup, I mean, aren't you going to have to know the client's passwords and that kind of stuff to set this thing up?
It's like 10 minutes of time tops.
Yeah, so often people go when they meet with their clients and they sit down and they go through the setup together. For the clients who are kind of more millennials, they get it immediately, and the process of adding their accounts is pretty easy, right? And
so you could do this. You could do this like we're doing now, like with the Zoom. So you're in
you could totally do a screen share with them, or if they're savvy, they don't need help and they can basically figure it out on their own. What other questions do we have?
Okay, so we've got the folder thing covered. What about actually connecting a service? Why not walk through that just for the sake of those who may not understand how that works?
Sure. So this account is, you go to the Destinations tab, and it turns out that I'm already connected to all of these cloud storage things. But I can go through the example of connecting to Dropbox and see how that works for me. I do have two-factor authentication set up on my Dropbox, so I might need to run and get my phone.
Which, by the way, everyone should do all the time, wherever and whenever you can.
Yeah, I love 2FA. So sign into Dropbox to link with Hubdoc Inc. And I'm going to put my Dropbox creds in there. And I need to run and get my mobile phone. 1 second.
So this is kind of funny while we're talking. This morning, the one lady, I was telling before we went live, is that I had, one client that actually paid overnight or whatever, and my email sent over this morning. I quickly added her to Hubdoc, and I just logged into my Hubdoc, and all of her statements are already here. It's like amazing.
I'm back.
All right.
So I've got this code from Dropbox, which is 844247. I submit, and that should validate. I'm going to allow Hubdoc to publish to Dropbox. So the first time I connect to cloud storage, what happens is I have to, make a few decisions. And so in this example, I'm going to say, Hubdoc, I want to copy the folder structure from Hubdoc to Dropbox, and I'm going to push and drop everything in this destination folder called Hubdoc. So that looks good. So let's actually try and push something. So why not these American Express bills? That was a good example. And so if I say push to Dropbox, now I can push those Amex bills to Dropbox, and hopefully I actually have Dropbox. Oh, look I've got a notification right there, which is pretty cool. You can see the files actually coming in, these CSV files, as well as the statements into my Dropbox, which is pretty magic.
That's so cool, because as a side note on that, when I reconcile an account, I always get the CSV, because if I'm ever not in balance, the CSV saves a lot of time in terms of how you can just cut up the data yourself to quickly find what's missing or what didn't get entered correctly. The CSV is a lifesaver when you're trying to reconcile an account.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool, right? I mean, there are all the statements, and we're seeing these Dropbox. You might not be seeing the Dropbox ads. Are you seeing my Finder right now, or just my window?
No, we're just seeing the Hubdoc, the browser.
Okay, let me see if I can
If you
change
stop
that.
the share and start again, you can just
Yeah.
share the whole desktop.
Yeah. So stop share. And there's me back. And now I'm going to start again. And I'll share the whole desktop and go to Finder. And so in my Dropbox folder, I click on Hubdoc and I go to Bills and Statements. And I go to American Express USA.
Nice.
And there, let's open up this PDF, and there it is, actually sitting there immediately.
It's amazing how fast this works.
That's called demoing in real time, walking on
Wow.
that tight wire. That's incredible. I love it when it actually works like that.
So Jamie, can you speak for a moment about like what is the common, like how far back does Hubdoc default? Is it different for different banks, or how? Because I noticed that like when I synced a PayPal account, it went back further than the bank account for a client of mine.
Yeah, so I mean, we're obviously limited to what's available on those websites, right? So Chase was an example Seth brought up at the beginning of the call. Like they host statements for 7 years, and so we try and get as many of them as we can. And PayPal's another one that goes back quite a while. So I think our rule is we want to go back to the beginning of the prior year at a minimum.
Okay.
And if there's more available, we try and get more.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Pricing, we haven't talked pricing.
So, and
Pricing,
also
so-
somebody's asking, Barbara was asking about affiliate program. So yeah, let's talk pricing and affiliates and how that all works.
So the way we price it, I mean, essentially 95% of our business is selling to accountants and bookkeepers, and they either pay for it themselves or have their clients pay for it directly, depending on what their business model is. We give the product away to accountants and bookkeepers for free. So I think most of the people on this call have a VIP account already. And that just means you can use it for your own business, for personal life, whatever. Our view is that we want you to kind of fall in love with the software and know how to use it, and then introduce it to your clients. The cost per client is $20 a month per client, and then we have wholesale pricing based on volume. So if you've got more than 5 clients, it's $18 a month. If you've got more than 25, it's $16 a month. More than 100, it goes to $14 a month.
How would I get an accountant account?
You can just sign up on Hubdoc. And if you already have an account, just email support@hubdoc.com and ask for a VIP account and say you've got clients. And
I don't have an account. I was just wondering if I wanted to set up one for myself.
yeah, for sure. Just go to www.hubdoc.com and hit the sign up button. And then when you're signing up, make sure to click the button, I'm an accountant or bookkeeper,
Oh, okay.
and then you're good to go.
Okay.
I can just show you what that looks like right now. So if I go to sign up, it's free. Are you an accountant or bookkeeper? Yes, we're good to go.
And then, so my understanding, Jamie, is that as far as like an affiliate or partner program, it's just a matter of as you add more clients, the cost gets less expensive monthly.
On a per client basis, exactly. And we also have a certification program which people are interested in. That's easy to sign up for, and you get a little badge that you can put on your website. And you know, we're always thinking of ways to kind of make our partner program better for you guys. And one thing that people have asked us for that we haven't done yet is like a reseller and affiliate program where you get, I don't know, 10% of the revenue if you got a small business to sign up, but they weren't a client. So that'll be something we do. It's just not something we're focused on doing immediately.
So, and this goes to a bigger picture conversation that a lot of us are having in general these days, which is in terms of how you price your services. This is yet another example of where you really want to think in terms of charging your clients a flat monthly fee and including the cost of all these apps. It's better for the client because they don't, otherwise the client starts feeling like, oh, I'm paying for your bookkeeping services, and then I'm also paying for all these other apps, and they start getting overwhelmed and thinking it's really expensive, whereas I can't tell you how effective it is when I'm working with a prospect and trying to get them in as a client, and I quote them the monthly fee, and then they come back and say, oh, but then I got to pay for QuickBooks Online, and I got to pay for Hubdoc, and I got to pay for Bill.com, and I say, no, that's all included. I factored it all in. And the clients get, it's almost like as soon as I tell them that, they're like, okay, where do I sign? How do I get started? And then as you add more clients, like Jamie's, like Hubdoc's plan does for you, your cost gets cheaper and cheaper, but you're still delivering the client the same exact value. So you don't lower the price to the client. You just become more profitable, and you get the benefit of what results from you sort of crowdsourcing all of your clients into these same apps. Bill.com works the same way. The sort of wholesale cost when you use their accountant console is $30 a month base versus $50, which is sort of the retail monthly cost of Bill.com. So you factor in a $50 a month fee as the base for Bill.com. Then you got to factor in the per transaction fees and come up with some assumptions there. And I've done a whole webinar where I teach how to put together like a graduated scale so that you're scaling it up and saying it's this much for up to 100 transactions a month. And then over 100 transactions, we're going to add something onto the monthly bill. So you have to think about these things, price your services accordingly. And then as you increase the volume of what you bring in, because of you getting all these clients, you benefit from the reduction in the cost of these apps. And I think, Jamie, what that brings up is a really good question that we had talked about previous to this, which is, there's a couple questions in here. First of all, what advice do you have, Jamie? Because you obviously work with a lot of accountants and bookkeepers who are clearly using your app. And hi, everybody say hi to Melissa's baby.
That's so great.
So talk about a newcomer going to the cloud. So that's what I'm getting at, Jamie, is you see a lot of companies who are clearly probably getting interested in your service because it's a big part of what they're doing to move everything to the cloud. So what advice do you have for accountants or bookkeepers and small businesses that they serve as they move their businesses to the cloud?
You know, I'm super jazzed about the era that we live in terms of small business accounting, right? And I think what's happening is I used to work in big companies. I worked for Microsoft and Expedia for a long time, and we had an ERP system called SAP, and like invoice would be delivered to my inbox. I'd click on a link, I'd approve it, it would get paid automatically. And I think that's happening now for every small business globally, right? And Zero, QBO, Bill.com, companies like ours are pushing this kind of small business ERP forward. And you can have all the automation for a small business by stitching together 4 or 5 apps and for $100 a month getting just amazing value. And I think for the small business owners out there, like I just think it's such a great value what we can sell to them, which is if I'm a bookkeeper and accountant and I can say for $1,000 or $2,000 a month, here's what you get. You get real-time reconciliation of your books. You get audit-proof books. You get document automation. You get automatic bill payment. You know, they're talking about 20 grand a year, or they don't have to hire a finance person until they have, you know, a couple $1 million in revenue. It's just an incredible cost saving. And I think I always hated paying my bookkeeper $40 an hour and watching them come in and sit. I'd so much rather pay somebody, you know, it's $750 a month to take care of it, and I don't ever have to think about it again. So I'm just a giant proponent of fixed pricing and the value that creates for small businesses. And then once you've got that model, using tools like ours and all the other awesome apps out there to drive automation in your business, so you can serve more clients with less labor.
Right. And I think that goes back to the point I was making is, you know, you have economies of scale, right? As you build a broader and broader client base and you're doing things this way and pricing things on the basis of a flat monthly rate, then you're getting more profitable as time goes on because you're increasing your efficiencies. It's taking you less time to do the same thing. And even though our current convention of, quote, value pricing tells you to ignore time, frankly, this is where I have a problem with the value pricing concept. I can't ignore time. It takes me time to get the stuff done, right? So I do want to leave time out of the equation when I'm pricing stuff, but I can't ignore the fact that it's going to take me time to get this stuff done. And as I get more efficient with this stuff and I am charging a flat rate, then the effective value of what I'm bringing for myself as a practitioner increases. My effective rate, if I did want to consider the time it takes, goes up as I increase my efficiency rather than passing that cost along. to the clients. That's why I have kind of my own version of the concept that I call power pricing as opposed to value pricing, because to me, value is subjective. But I like to believe that the power is in our hands, and that's why I call it power pricing. The power is in our hands to decide what gets me excited to do the work. And based on that, how much I'm going to charge. I want to charge what gets me excited, because then I'm going to do a really good job because I'm excited about what I'm getting paid to do it. If I'm reluctant because I'm not sure if I priced it well, because maybe I priced it too low and it's taking me so much time to get it done, and that precludes me from spending time doing other things and bringing in more of it, you get into that whole cycle. So I'm much more a fan of what I'm calling power pricing, which again is based on what gets you excited to get up and do that work, and to work on things like, Hubdoc to increase those efficiencies, and then based on that, take advantage of those economies of scale like I was talking about. So I think this is a good time, and we only have about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about the future of accounting. So Jamie, where do you think the technology is going in the next 5 years, especially from the perspective of a software developer? And then I'd like to hear from everyone else.
Well, I think, my hat's off to Intuit and Xero for the work they're doing globally to kind of push cloud accounting to small businesses. And I think, there's a couple million accounts maybe across the world, small businesses using those platforms. And, of course, FreshBooks and some of the kind of mid-sized platforms like NetSuite and Intact. It's just super exciting. Like that 2 million subscribers is going to go from 2 million to 30 million over the next 10 years. And around that cloud small business accounting ecosystem, you're going to have real software companies built. So, you see what Gusto's doing in payroll, you see what Bill.com's doing in payments. We're trying to own the document management space and be that, that filing cabinet for small businesses and accountants that they can collaborate on in real time, where we do smart things like automated filing and data extraction to make it better, and just make it easier to do the books. And I think every small business is going to pay a flat fee to have their accounting done, and it'll be based on the people who are going to thrive are the early adopters, right, who figure out how to stitch that technology together to deliver just a great service, first of all, and then do it with the least amount of time possible to make the work happen. So I'm excited for the next 10 years. I think it's going to be awesome.
Me too. I just love the technology. I love the stuff that, we're seeing come out. I mean, products like yours, Jamie, are just such a good example of where this is all going, especially and this is yet another reason for people to stop staying stuck on desktop accounting software and move to the cloud, because there's so much more power that you have when you have cloud-to-cloud apps working, where it's so easy for them to connect to one another because the APIs are open. Whereas, trying to connect a cloud app to a desktop app is a cluster, because it's just not in the same playing field. So you have to do that much more work to get it to work, and then it doesn't always work. The link breaks, the sync breaks. I mean, why do you think Intuit's getting rid of Sync Manager? I don't know. I don't work for Intuit, but I have to guess it's because there have been so many problems with it.
Who here on this call has ever asked me to connect to QB Desktop? Raise your hand.
I didn't bother to, because by the
all
time
right.
I asked you if you did, and once you said no, I got it. I didn't have to ask why.
It strikes me as it's good for accountants and bookkeepers because it's going to require a higher skill level, so there'll be less competition, it would seem to me.
I agree.
So, and Jamie, I think it's fairly clear from what we've seen today in terms of how your app is different, but I'm going to guess that there's probably a perception out there like, oh, it's just another file management app. So what do you say to those people to help them understand the difference in the power that Hubdoc provides versus just using a Dropbox to store somebody's documents? I mean, because that'll help us as bookkeepers and accountants explain that to our clients when they're asking us, why do I need Hubdoc?
Yeah, I think our vision is to be the one place for all of your documents that back up your your accounting transactions, right? And I think the hassle that the pain that people are experiencing around that right now is like, how do I get the documents into my Dropbox or Box? Who's doing that work? And we try and automate that. And then how do I organize it smartly? So the example of that Adobe bill, I'll just go back and share my screen again quickly and see if I can't find that. Where was it? So there's the Adobe bill. We've actually taken something that had no smart name and named it, you can see Adobe with the date 2016-01-27 and the amount, right? And so having that in your Dropbox account with the file actually named makes a massive difference in efficiency, because that's one less touch that you have to do. And so how are we different than everyone else? I think there's definitely data extraction platforms that are great. So Receipt Bank, Expensify, Tally, all of those do amazing things, but slightly different from what we do. And then there's things that do auto fetching. So FileThis has a product, but we're trying to bring those two things together to represent all of your documents to back up your financial transactions, and solve that pain point for accountants and bookkeepers and the small businesses that they serve.
Great. So I'm going to shut up and leave it open to everybody else. Who else has questions, comments, concerns, feedback? Maybe you need a little therapy. We're here for you.
I like the mobile app where you can take a picture of the receipt and bring it in. I have a big difference between some clients that are willing to go the step and go to cloud, and some that do not. I mean, like you said, the millennials are no problem. They just get it.
Yeah.
But I'm still at the point where I have clients that don't. And once they experience that, being able to take a picture from their phone and getting it there, that's it. That's the step that takes them there.
Yeah, I think that's actually great to hear, because everyone has a mobile phone now. Everyone has a smartphone. Like, it's literally everyone has Facebook and everyone has a mobile phone. So if the entry level experience for a client is just get them to download the app and take a picture, like, I think that's a great starting point as you introduce the product to your clients.
And how much can you do from the mobile app? Because I only just installed the mobile app last night, so I haven't really had a chance to play with it. How much can you manage from your Hubdoc account from the mobile app? It seems like a lot.
Yeah, the honest answer is it's not good enough yet. The primary use case in the mobile app is take a picture and then find a document. We're pretty good at those two things, but the idea of being able to put a note on a document and then publish it to bill.com or whatever, we're not there yet, and that's all coming in 2016. We're excited about spending more time and kind of resources on mobile. And building an iPad-only app would also be awesome, because you could build all the functionality we have in our web app into an iPad app. That would be amazing. So,
gotcha. So we just have about 2 minutes left. So I think this is a good time, Jamie, for you to tell us how to reach you, where to contact you, what to do if we want to get in touch, and where to go if we want to get signed up with Hubdoc.
Yeah, sure. So my email, jamiem@hubdoc.com, is a good place to start. Signing up is just going to our website, which is www.hubdoc.com, HUBDOC. There's a lot of awesome misspellings that include like a K on the end or an S on the end, but it's Hub and Doc, DOC. So those two places. And then a lot of people on the phone are existing customers and supporters of ours. We hang out in Facebook groups and try and talk to people. And then if you have questions specific to your clients, support@hubdoc.com is a great place to email. And we pride ourselves on delivering amazing customer experiences. And we're really trying hard to respond quickly, answer your question, and just do the best we can.
And that's all I hear, by the way, is how amazing your support is. Mariette, at our meeting last night, was raving about even the videos that you have, the video tutorials in the support area of your website, she said were amazing. So there's definitely good feedback out there about your support.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like YouTube is so powerful. Like, we've got people just come and watch our videos on how to set up the product, or you know it, Seth. You're creating content all the time. These webinars, you've created content today. It's super valuable. You can learn a lot just by listening.
Yep. All right. Anybody else? Any last minute words, thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions?
I just want to jump in as well, and I have few things that came across we talked about last night, what I've been doing. So if you have any questions as to how to do something that we discussed last night, that small tricks, I'll be posting some of them in BWAM, and ask me any questions because I love Hubdoc so much. So.
Yeah, so Between Wall and Main, of course, here's my shameless plug for ourselves. Between Wall and Main, Jamie, you guys have been great. Thank you for being in there and being supportive. So if people have questions, you can certainly come into our Facebook group and ask them there. And, both Jamies, the Jamies are great about responding if you tag them with questions that you have about Hubdoc. And, of course, there's no shortage of members in the group who are only too happy to jump in and help answer questions as well. That's why we love Between Wall and Main, the truly spam-free group on Facebook.
Awesome. Kill it. Thanks for the time, Seth. This has been awesome, and thanks for everyone for listening.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Jamie, for coming out. Really
Tell the other
appreciate it.
Jamie we said hi.
Yeah, we will. Cheers, guys.
All right, everybody, wave goodbye.
Bye.
Happy Friday, everybody.